Good night to all of you within earshot of my voice. I want to begin this brief conversation with you by trying to locate where we stand at this point in history. This is not about an election and an election alone. This is a revolutionary period in our history where we are witnessing what we witnessed before. And revolutionary changes occur in many different forms. And when it is not directed, it can even mirror itself in criminal activities. Everything that we saw before, including the sewage on the South Coast, is what we saw before in the first half of the 20th century. Not sewage on the South Coast by the tourists, but sewage in the city of Bridgestone. All my people are talking about in this country is how it is going to affect tourism. We are so blind to our own interests that when sewage is polluting the atmosphere and diseases are likely to occur, we are not even concerned about the disaster that's likely to affect the lives of working class black people in this country. It's the distinction between you and them in the 1930s, because they were thinking about their survival. And all of that shit on the South Coast that floated around since 2016. 365 days plus, you had urine floating on the streets of the South Coast. And you are not worried about that. You're not worried about that. You're worried about if the tourists will still come here. I want you all to get involved in retrospection. Lord Mohun, who have been given credit for writing the report on the commission in the 1930s, said that the toilets in the city of Bridgestone were overflowing with filth in the streets. And as a consequence of that, mosquitoes were responsible for spreading diseases or diseases. So if somebody out there want to teach me formal English, across the entire nation. And people with little minds were asking, how can a mosquito get from Bridgestone to St. Lucie? Can't get there. They could not spread diseases. Well, let me tell you, you drive through that South Coast every day. And all of that filth is on the tires of your cars. Mosquitoes are transported. They don't open the doors. They end up across the entire nation. We are all conscious and sensible people. are fully aware of the dangers of a pandemic developing in this country as a consequence of what is happening on the South Coast since 2016. We find ourselves now locked in, becoming comatose, experiencing inertia, not even paying any interest to ourselves, but arguing about if the U.S. government is issuing a warning to its citizens and the UK and the Canadians. What about you? What about you? We are experiencing all types of problems in this country. Trade union movements are being undermined by a government who calls itself a democratic socialist government, but involved in fascist right-wing practices in this country. So when the workers know that something is going wrong, and they are asking and deserve the fundamental changes that are required, for 10 years in this country, the civil servants receive no increment. The trade union movement that Barra sneak up on them in order to have the collective strength of the union fused with the Democratic Labour Party in order to get rid of the Barbados Labour Party. This government that you call the Barra government is now doing the very opposite. I don't even understand how a black man that has had access to primary and secondary education, and worst of all, tertiary education, could come and engage me in a conversation about returning this government to office in this country. He has to be a madman or a madwoman. Too many people are suffering. And that's why I'm saying to you, we must understand that this is a revolutionary moment, because the very things that occur in 1937, it might got a little more wall now, but I bet if it was possible for the resurrection of anybody who died in the 1950s to return to this area, there would be nothing new about what they're seeing now in comparison with what they were seeing then. Can't be. Still poverty in this community, still child housing in this community, still unemployment in this community, and you had two prime ministers in this community. Two prime ministers, Friendly Stewart and Erskine Sandiford, who cut people's wages by 8%. And then, unfortunately, the prime minister that was the prime minister of this political party, we had to give that man a sir. I don't mind these cosmetic things about sirs and about here giving people honors and these kind of things. So black people must recognize that that was the first trick in the invasion on the African continent. The provision of trinkets for black people and the Bible. First thing you get when the white man came on the African continent was the Bible and trinkets. And the white man had access to the land and the gold and the diamonds. Get conscious, because this is a revolutionary moment. And that is why my brother Kurt, a brother out of obscurity and unknown, in the history of this country will now make history in contemporary times. This is a time when you need people to rescue this economy. You can't rescue this economy by having money and money alone. I have been hearing all of that nonsense from politicians and economists. You have to fuse having money with ideas going on to spend it. Ideas. I want to tell you that if Kurt Humphrey had the access to money in the way in which Brandon Stewart and any one of them in the Democratic Labour Party had it, this country will be much better tonight, and you'll be enjoying a better quality of life because Kurt possessed the innovation and the concepts that are required to rescue this country and a modern economy. I came here tonight to talk to you about these things. I don't want you to say it's in the election campaign and we're into some ceremony or some ritual and that every night we're going to come out here and we're going to play a little song for you about who's strong or who's weak and who God can save and all these kind of things. I want you to think in another country we would not be out here tonight. The matter would have been solved long ago. And we have education and we reason a lot and sometimes reason too much. These people should be out of office long ago for the wrongs that they have done to the people in Barbados. This man, Brandon Stewart, and that one, Erskine Sandiford, walk around here like lords for years. Young men can't get a job down here. You can't get a house repaired down here. Brandon Stewart is responsible for the Urban Development Commission. Brandon Stewart is responsible for the Poverty Alleviation Fund. People can't get a galvanized sheet down here from him. He does not believe that he has to come to you. Because you believe that because he is called Prime Minister, that he is a superior entity. So he is going to come here to you. Kurt is going to walk these streets every day. Kurt is going to go on his knees along with his supporters, males and females will curtsy and men will bow. I ask you to understand. Look, you see this young man, Kurt Humphrey? I know who he's talking about, you know. We grew up in the same social, cultural, and economic environment. He is a product of Licorice Village and the Pine. He is not shaped by affluence. He knows what poverty is. He can empathize with you down here. He don't join the fan clubs. Kurt was not going to be part of this Barbados Labour Party because somebody good looking or because Prescod is a friend. Kurt has a master's degree. In a monkey man, the man sacrificed time to achieve scholarship, to be well armed and prepared for this job here in this constituency. I am not imposing an unworthy, unqualified individual on you. I came down here tonight to tell you this. I am not part of any BLP ritual. This is the man for the times for this constituency. Kurt, whenever you want me, I don't know what an asset I can be, but if I could contribute any little thing to ensure that I bring some sense of intellectual value or substance to all those who are within earshot of my voice, that is the basis to me being here tonight. Kurt, I don't have to have 25 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. That is my message to you. This Barbados Labour Party is no fly-by-night organization running around distracting people. We purge the institution of the unworthy. All of these people that now coming to you, they got 13 parties, newspapers that's supposed to have intelligent people and political scientists talking about parties. Parties that don't even have 30 candidates want to form a government. They don't even have 30 members want to form a government. They got a lot of them involved in thieving, all kind of debauchery, but talk about integrity in the system. I got one to break by me. I ain't got to tell you a lot of things, but I hold you back. I found him 2 days ago living in Kampala. The boy has an inflated view of himself. And he's called a squatting. He live in a house that Barra used to live in down in Paradise. Down they call Kampala. He carry all the fencing from around the community center in the Ivy. The Democratic Labour Party gave him money to dig a well in my constituency, although he claimed he's a candidate for the UPP. I hope you all can extrapolate from what I'm saying to you. So you have a UPP criticizing the Barbados Labour Party, but not the DLP. And you don't understand that all of these are the same degenerates working in union. All of them. These people play tricks on you every election. I heard Sandy talking to you about this legislation that they brought to Parliament. And they're on a special social trajectory of dishonesty. They're looking at housing areas and they're exposing their nakedness in the debate by saying as a consequence of this change, 14,000 households multiplied by 5 would be given an opportunity to live in a government house free forever. You know the people are going to title these. You know even the changes that we made on Tuesday that took up a debate from 10 o'clock in the morning to late in the night that CBC covered, that the Nation covered, that the Advocate covered. You know, 3 elections straight the same debate occurred. They tell the people about the houses for the 2008 election. They told them about the houses for the 2013 election. And they're telling them about the houses in this election coming up. You can't have an educated society repeating foolishness out of textbooks, even as ridiculous as the cow jump over the moon. And you can't have an analytical mind to tell you when a culprit is on the horizon. You have people fooling black people all the time about which party is a working class party, but you know they get all the work to the people, the old traditional white people who own the businesses in this country, while over 95% of the working class people quarreling about increments for wages. Yet you filling up the universities and the secondary schools, and you got all of these certifications and degrees behind your name, but a little ignorant boy in one of these cooperative sectors calling you before him and answering you questions. Sometimes, somebody trying to teach me English just now. Sometimes the white boys don't even know basic, simple sentences in the English language. But they expect you and I to know complex, compound sentences in the English language. You don't know that this is a time for radical change? Don't you know that you need people, if you want to rescue this country from where it is, don't you understand that you need a Kurt Humphrey? Frandel said he is a man of ideas. What sense it is for a man to have ideas and don't talk? Nobody can reason with a man who do not communicate unless he believes that he has a monopoly on common sense and academics. And all that he talks about is European and Western philosophy. He does not even believe that a black man has contributed anything worthwhile to philosophy in the world. Ask him to call the name of one black philosopher, and he can't call any. But he into Socrates, he into Jean-Jacques Rousseau. He wants to talk about Cicero, but he don't know a black philosopher at all. But he pontificates as an intellectual, trying to govern and rule and direct and shape policies for the general development of black people in this country. You all are lost if you do not understand at this point all of these impostures need to be rejected from this political landscape, never again to cross the streets or the stairs of the Parliament of Barbados. All of them. If you let crush black boys who were supporting the Barbados Labour Party, their names will be called at a later date. Because they are broke, they abandon profound thought and their conscience. And they walked away from this institution. We purged some of them walked away because debate was very appealing. Some of them left with large sums of money. And now, these same people are walking about pretending to be righteous, fully Christianized, making moral assessments of the political party. And all it is about bribery and extortion. This entire Democratic Labour Party, who believes that nothing is of importance, and if you want to enjoy the sweets of the institution, then you must fall victim to the concept and the philosophy of paramountcy of the Democratic Labour Party. You must worship it blind when it does not even know itself. And if you don't do that, you can't get a job. If you want to get an opportunity to walk through the pearly gates of the DLP and reach the highest ascendancies in positions in this country, All of them, from those who are ceremonial down to those who require certain types of certifications that you see gone to the top in this country, those people float to the top. They float to the top when they should be really going down. Those people become holders of top offices in this country. And you can't understand this level of corruption. You can't understand it. But you have to be able to strip these people of that kind of false facade that make you believe that they're worthy. That's why they can't solve a problem. You really believe that any one of you, a mechanism is in the South Coast already. You won't tell me if experts tell you, I will volunteer to give service to help you solve this problem. Your head will be so large that you abandon the offer by the experts. Every week you're telling the same people in this society that the matter solved now. The matter solved now, and the next morning you see filth coming up like out of fountain on the South Coast. The only reason Lucky Horseshoe and these people don't talk is because they had an opportunity to import chicken wings. Where the customs indicate that the amount of chicken wings that came in is enough to serve those businesses for over 1 year and a half. But the businesses had intentions of making money on the side by selling the chicken wings to shopkeepers across Barbados. So they would scream, they had to wait late, so that after you come for the dinner and for the lunch, those businesses, food chains on the South Coast and the hotels, coming home nobody. Those businesses now recognize there's no business, so they're expressing their views. I really came here to make a brief stop. I could not stay away from here tonight, especially knowing I won't hide from you, Stuart. I know Stuart for a lot of years, but this is the best man. Kurt Humphrey is the best man. I want you young people, don't tap into Kurt Humphrey because he's young. Tap into Kurt Humphrey because out of your judgment of meritocracy, based on his intellectual capacity, based on Kurt being a visionary, that Kurt is futuristic in his thinking, and that Kurt can deliver to you what is so badly needed at this specific time and free the minds of the youth in this society and open up this community to a point where black men, where white men, where Asian men, all of the people will be able to share in the expanding community and the social development of this community. I want to thank you all tonight for listening to me. I do not regret the journey I have taken to come here to support you. Kurt, all the best. I left this to all of you. I want you. I want you. This is not about laughing alone. I want you to understand this man just made a sacrifice. This man was working in the Canadian High Commission for a salary. He resigned his job and put his future in the hands of you in this community. If you don't understand what I'm talking about, I know you want me to come down, but you see, I want to miss these things, you know. This man, Kurt Humphrey, is special in this constituency. Give Kurt Humphrey the opportunity to walk with me. It is no doubt, Kurt, no doubt that I am going there, and I want you to go there with me. Good night, and God bless all of you.